Thinking about reading Lean Out by Dawn Foster and want to know a bit more about the book before you buy a copy for yourself? Well, check out this video. Hey, it's Charelle from PropelHer, the place for unashamedly ambitious women who want to achieve more success in their life. Each month, as part of PropelHer's book club, I choose a non-fiction book to help us on that journey. And in March 2020, as part of International Women's Day, we read Lean Out by Dawn Foster. For a bit of context, in 2015, I had read Lean In by Charelle along with lots of other women. And Lean Out is positioned as a sort of response or challenge to the book, because the fact is not everyone agreed with what Charelle had written, so I was really intrigued to see what Dawn's thoughts were. If you haven't read Lean In, don't worry, Dawn summarises it at the beginning, and in her words, the fact is Lean In puts the pressure on the women, and it says that they are not getting to the top because they're unwilling to put themselves forward and they're not assertive enough. Now, Dawn's issue with this is it puts all the pressure back on the individual rather than looking at the societal issues at hand. Now, as I mentioned, I read this book and it was a big seller. However, what was very interesting was Dawn had managed to find out that on Amazon, it was one of the books most unlikely to have been finished. Now, that really shocked me, but it shows that clearly, whilst there was a lot of hype around the book, not every single woman loved it. Dawn mentioned early on in the beginning that her major flaw with the book is the fact that it ignores societal issues, and that really sets the tone for the rest of the book as Dawn walks through different ways society and legislation and other thinking is really impacting the equality of women. One of the chapters of the book is called Lehman Sisters, and that really made me giggle. Dawn talks about the fact that would the financial crash have happened if there had been more women in business. This is a topic that's spoken about a lot now. Lots of companies are really trying to get more women on the C-suite and on boards, but the fact is we are not getting anywhere near equal yet, and there are major reasons why, as you'll find out later in the book, that is happening. Another chapter of the book is called Having It All, and Dawn talks about how, as a society, we have got a major issue. There are more and more conversations about women having it all, but when we think about women having it all, it's a certain type of woman. It will be a woman with a big job alongside having a gorgeous house, a great body, a wonderful partner, and bringing up her children. This is ignoring so many other women in society who clearly are trying to have it all. They are going to work, they're trying to bring up their children, and they're trying to keep a roof over everyone's head. But because it's not all at the top, and they're not maybe in the most exclusive postcode, we're just ignoring them. One of the things Dawn talks about is how feminism of the moment has been looking at getting women to the top, and there's lots of conversations, whether it be work, whether it be in sport, whether it be in tech, about trying to help more women get to the top. However, what about everyone else? And there's a major issue as well with getting women to the top. There is then an assumption, and what she talks about in terms of trickle-down feminism, that by getting women to the top, it's better for everyone else. However, history has shown that just isn't true. Whether you look at Britain, and in the book she looks at Margaret Thatcher and what happened during her reign, and it doesn't necessarily mean having a woman Prime Minister is going to make it better for all women. And also, even within the workplace, having a woman as a CEO doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be better for all women. Now, one of the reasons why it isn't better for all women is because by assuming a woman at the top is going to make it better for everyone else, you're not thinking about everything else. You're not thinking about race, you're not thinking about class or economical and societal positions. These all play a role. Also, when it comes to hiring, there is research that shows that if you are already a minority, you can feel the pressure to not want to hire someone like you because you feel as if everyone's thinking, oh, you're bringing up everyone else like you. The fact is you're actually more likely to hire someone who sits within the normal realm. Throughout the book, Dawn talks about so many different types of feminism. Lean Out obviously focuses very much on corporate feminism, but Dawn talks about so many different ones. And one of the ones she discusses is called choice feminism. And she feels that that's a major issue that's happening right now. The fact is, we are now seeing feminism as something we choose, and we're seeing it as a lifestyle. And the reason why that's an issue is it, again, it puts the pressure back on the individual, whereas actually to make great change, people need to come together, and it's the collective that are going to be able to help make change. In the conclusion, Dawn writes, rather than leaning in, they are leaning out and refusing to play the game anymore. It is very clear throughout the book that Dawn believes that we need as women to come together to make change, and that leaning in, which means just pushing ourselves harder and harder in a system that is essentially flawed, is not the answer. Overall, I really enjoyed Lean Out by Dawn Foster. Dawn is a British journalist, and this can be seen so evidently in the book. She uses so many references to British culture and to British politics and British stats that made it so relatable for me. However, I still think she made a great effort to show what the situation is in other places, so it would be relatable to other women. However, I'm not really 100% sure if it needed to be a book. So it is just 82 pages long, and the writing style is very critical analysis or thesis style, which made me think I don't know whether the book was necessarily the best format for it. Also, I would argue that Lean Out is not a direct response to Lean In. And this is really interesting because obviously the reason why I chose the book was to have the discussion about the two. Lean In focuses on women in the workplace. Charelle made a strict focus in that area, whereas Dawn looks at so many different places, so many different ways of life, and how equality for women can show up in so many different ways. So whilst I really enjoyed the book and I thought she had some great conversations, I think if you think, oh, this might show me a way to succeed in the workplace without leaning in, it probably isn't going to answer that for you. As I mentioned at the beginning, Lean Out was read as part of PropelHer's book club. PropelHer's book club is a non-fiction book club for ambitious women who want to achieve more success in their life. So each month I choose a book, and if you would like to join us, you can find all the information below. And I would love to know, since this book was all about feminism, do you class yourself as a feminist, or do you see it as a dirty word? Bye for now.